Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, I am astronomically hungover, so don't mind me, but I figured being hungover is kind of a fun time to go and do a little bit of a deep dive into the controversial life of the future of the PlayStation 5. Now, as you guys may or may not have seen, there is probably going to be a huge partnership. This is all on my own speculation, thoughts, comments, and of course, for these types of videos, would love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. I'll probably go through all the comments, read them, or if you just want to listen to my madman rambling, feel free to. But it does kind of seem like we're on the cusp of something really, really big, and it kind of seems like there's a certain, partnership that's been in the works, been a little bit low-key for a while, that might be kind of, just promoting the PlayStation to an astronomically high level. And this is regards now to Apple. Now, I'm sure you guys have either heard of the iPhone, hopefully, or heard of Apple, hopefully, or heard of Macs and all that stuff. And there was kind of some really big events that happened a few days ago, which is also corresponding to a lot of the future things for the Sony and PlayStation consoles. So this is, like I said, a little bit of my own speculation slash thoughts, but a lot of it will make a lot of sense if you guys, are kind of sit down and look to it. I always kind of like to make videos that are somewhat off the beaten path, because I haven't seen anyone really talk about this too much. I think me and my buddy Cam did go talk about it in passing, though, on Discord. So if you guys have missed it, by the way, go and subscribe, Twitter and Twitch room down below, that good stuff. If you guys have missed some kind of big news, we'll do a little bit of a recap, because it all kind of goes and corresponds. If you guys missed it, on November 15th, the brand new PlayStation Portal will be launching, and it's going to be a $200 remote play, console. Basically, what this means is that they're trying to go and push the remote play idea for your console, where it's your PlayStation 5, and then through, Bluetooth technology. And as you kind of go through all of that, it's basically letting you stream to things like your phone, or for example, the PlayStation Portal, all that type of stuff. That's a big thing to know, because they're trying to go and expand out either the cloud gaming and cloud hosting department, or as well also going and having just basically you could be mobile. You can go wherever you want. Maybe in the future, literally throughout the entire planet. Think about in the city of Chicago to LA to New York or whatever it might be. That might be the long-term goal for things like Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, general game streaming, cloud computing, whatever. But right now, a lot of technology is a bit rough. You don't have 5G, 6G everywhere, and sometimes things for this, you have to go, like I said, kind of Bluetooth it from your PlayStation console. But that's where that next step goes. So as you guys have probably heard or maybe assumed, the future is definitely being able to play games anywhere. Look at how well and successful the Switch is. Look at how big and profitable mobile gaming is. And think about how many really big games, although some of them are kind of memes, are available on things like iPhone. People play Fortnite. People go and play things like, Raid Shadow Legends. And these things are worth a lot of money. Billions of dollars of games. In the mobile market, think iOS, like the Apple Store, Google Play Store, etc. It's churning a lot of money for companies. And that's kind of a big thing to know. But that's why we're going to kind of open up this next big department. Well, we saw an article over here saying the iPhone 15 Pro brings PS5 games to mobile, and it should worry Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo. Now, I'm not necessarily sure if I kind of agree in that same take of that it should be a worrisome thing. I think this is a good thing for PlayStation, and overall maybe a good thing for, Apple too as well. So let's do a little bit of deep dive in this one. So if you're an avid gamer like them, a lot of folks were excited from the Apple event was basically the idea that games can now be played on these consoles. So for me, that's a big thing to know, because even Sony themselves are trying to go push for more of a remote play, mobile gaming market. They want this to work. They want people on their phones playing PlayStation games. They want people being anywhere on the entire planet playing PlayStation games. They want you basically going and sitting on the couch or in your bed or in your living room, outside, whatever it is, playing your certain games. And this is why it's kind of big, because Apple had a brand new kind of big announcement when it comes to these big games. Now, a good example is the iPhone 15 Pro will soon be able to go and play some of the best PS5 games natively, and even have supported hardware acceleration and ray tracing. So that means actually good graphics, good vibes. And as well, this is kind of the future of gaming. So imagine you have a phone. Imagine you have an iPhone where millions upon millions of folks will always be buying the new iteration. There's millions out there in the world, China, India, Japan, America, Canada, wherever. But now imagine you're the phone company, and you're either getting kickbacks, partnerships, or even have some sort of integrations with, let's say, Game Pass, with, let's say, PlayStation Plus. And that is kind of what we were seeing shaped up right now with PlayStation and Apple. Now, once again, this is speculation. This is kind of just more the planting seeds, but no one else has really talked about this so far. So, first and foremost is that this is a big deal. They've had a big announcement on their Apple event stating titles like Assassin's Creed Mirage, Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 4, Death Stranding are all going to be receiving native versions to be able to be played on the Apple phones. So it basically means that Apple's promise of being the iPhone being comparable to a home console is now finally becoming the reality. Now, I think this article is trying to go and say, and I don't disagree with their takes, saying hey, if you're Game Pass, if you're Nintendo, you might have to worry. I mean, if anything, I feel like Nintendo is probably the one that should be worried the most, because even right now, a normal iPhone, brand new iPhone, or brand new like Note phones, Samsung phones, or whatever, they probably do have better specs than the Switch. Like, that's not me trying to go and sugarcoat it. It probably is better than the Switch as of right this second. Of course, the Switch is old, whatever, sure, and they do have their own niche games, think Mario games, Zelda games, etc. But one big thing to note is, well, I think it's a good thing. Like, I mean, it can kind of go either way. Depends on the market, depends on the world. I think it seems like more of a bad thing, I think, for Xbox, because we haven't seen too much of a big connection with Microsoft and Xbox. And I'd almost want to say they're probably more bigger competitors than you'd probably assume. I don't know, at least in my opinion, like a lot of their products are kind of, well, think about it this way. It's like literally Windows versus like Mac. Like, that's like the big, in my mind, that's like the biggest competition. You have people in the iPhone ecosystem, obviously it's slightly different than Microsoft, but the bigger thing is always on the Mac OS versus Windows, and that's where they make a lot of money on the operating systems and people in their ecosystems. So here's my like rambles, here's my thoughts. Something like Apple would rather work with something like Sony and PlayStation because a lot of that makes sense. Like, think of like a proper business partnership, not like an acquisition or whatever, but think of something like, let's say you have Sony's music category, and you have a partnership with that to be sold on iTunes or have that in the Apple ecosystem or Apple Music. That's a big connection. Think movies too as well. You have these types of things on, let's go and say Apple TV. You have that integrated with that type of stuff. Think about things like Crunchyroll and Funimation that Sony also owns. And you have all these different types of interconnected things, which as well, we've also seen partnerships throughout the years where it's like another 6 months of Apple TV Plus for PlayStation 5 and PS4 users. So there's already has been a business connection. On the actual like Apple event that millions of people saw, when I saw there's like 3 million people just on YouTube alone, we quite literally saw them go and highlight the PlayStation 5 controller and literally giving them that free easy promo, which if you're something like Apple, you don't usually want to either associate with companies that you wouldn't necessarily like, or as well, you have to have like a reason for it. And there's always these back alley rooms and deals going on where it may not be like, hey, we're going to give you guys $1 bajillion. Sometimes it's one of those, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. And I think that's a big thing to kind of go note, that we're seeing this, because this has been an ongoing deal for a long time. This Apple TV connection, them trying to get people inside the Apple ecosystem. Sony themselves as a company has always tried to go push a little bit more on the, like, we want to be the fancy brand. We want to be the extra brand. We want to be that good brand. We want to be that, like, higher level brand that is a little bit of class. Think like iPhone, where, like, you feel special. You feel like you're in the PlayStation ecosystem. Think about it. They have the PlayStation VR 2. Think about it. They have the random PlayStation Portal. Think about it. They have all these other various things, like their TVs specifically built for PlayStation consoles. Headsets specifically built for PlayStation consoles. All this type of stuff all put together is, like, kind of like their same vibe they're trying to go with Apple. So if you want to be like Apple, who else do you want to go and partner with other than Apple? And this is why it's a big thing to note, because let's go and say in the future, like, we're seeing them trying to push us for remote play. We're seeing them trying to go make it so you could play games anywhere. We're now seeing these announcements over here where you can quite literally go and play these different types of games out here too. And while it might be an issue, like maybe something like Nintendo might be hurt, might feel bad about this, or have more of a competition crunch because you get better graphics, more access to games, maybe better stream abilities on both Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. Like, a lot of this type of stuff would make a lot of sense to me. Like, it makes sense to me. But the part two of this is that it seems like the connection's already forming. Now, this is speculation, this is just my thoughts. Apple and PlayStation, like, if they're literally being shown on this, it's like millions of people marketing. That's almost like giving like the stamp of the Apple approval for PlayStation users to have their controllers. And don't forget, also in the Apple Store, it's kind of big news, is that they even sell things like the PlayStation 5 controllers on the app, like in Apple stores. Like, they have a proper business manufacturing and dealing deals already. They have this, and that's a big thing to note, because like the connection's already there. That's why I'm showing you guys the Apple TV stuff, because the connection's already there. When they're showing up these games, they have like these remote plays. So imagine the future. This is all speculation once again, but imagine the future where you can have and play any type of PlayStation 5 game, or like an iPhone plus Sony partnership, where things like PS Plus can be streamed through your mobile like data with like Verizon, AT&T, and all of that. And this could really be one of the biggest partnerships. Now, I'd maybe go and say this for Xbox. There's always a chance they could work, but like I said, with prior like business competition, and as well just the fact that there is a repertoire between Sony and Apple, and there's a lot of things that make sense between the two companies too, to kind of scratch each other's backs. It's intriguing to me to go and see what might happen in the future. But I think this will be a big one at the end of the day, no matter what. Having a chance to play PS5 games on an iPhone would probably be groundbreaking, shattering considering, and something I think that will probably bolster up both those companies up quite a bit, especially in the gaming market. So like I said, a little bit of a hungover ramble video, but I think a lot of the stuff I said made sense. If you guys agree or disagree, leave your thoughts and comments down below. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below as well if you guys would like to go and follow, and of course subscribe with the notifications on if you guys are new. We have all the Amazon links too as well if you guys want to check those on out, and I appreciate you guys all so much for watching here in the first place.